On a sweltering Indian summer day, June 12, 2025, Air India Flight AI171 stood ready on the tarmac at Ahmedabad's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. The state-of-the-art Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner was preparing for its long-haul journey to London Gatwick, a routine flight for the airline and a symbol of modern global travel. Passengers, a diverse mix of families, students, and professionals, settled into their seats, their minds already on their destination. The atmosphere was one of quiet anticipation, the familiar hum of the cabin a prelude to the powerful roar of takeoff. No one could have possibly imagined the horror that was about to unfold in the skies above the city. The aircraft, loaded with nearly 125,000 liters of jet fuel for its intercontinental voyage, began its takeoff roll under the intense midday sun. It was a standard procedure, one performed thousands of times a day at airports across the world. However, something went catastrophically wrong within moments of the wheels leaving the runway. Eyewitnesses and preliminary data suggest the plane struggled desperately to gain altitude. Instead of ascending into the clear blue sky, it faltered, its nose pointed upwards but its body sinking. The powerful engines seemed to lose their fight against gravity, and the aircraft began a terrifyingly rapid descent back towards the Earth, its journey lasting a mere 33 seconds. The Dreamliner, a marvel of aviation engineering, tragically failed its most fundamental task. It crashed directly into the densely populated residential area of Magani Nagar, not far from the airport's perimeter. The impact was devastating, the aircraft breaking into two large sections upon hitting the ground. The force of the crash, combined with the massive fuel load, ignited a catastrophic fire that engulfed the wreckage and surrounding structures. The tail section of the massive plane came to rest, lodged inside a building, a horrifying testament to the violence of the impact. The dream of a journey to London had turned into an unimaginable nightmare on the streets of Ahmedabad. The crash site was a scene of utter chaos and destruction. The quiet neighborhood, which included a medical college hostel, was instantly transformed into a disaster zone. The resulting inferno sent thick black plumes of smoke billowing into the sky, visible for miles around. Emergency services rushed to the scene, but the intensity of the fire and the scale of the wreckage presented an immense challenge. For the people on the ground, a normal Thursday afternoon was shattered by an event that would leave an indelible scar on their community and on the nation's consciousness. The hope of finding survivors dwindled with every passing moment as the fire raged on. The human toll of the AI-171 disaster was staggering and deeply heartbreaking. On board the flight were 242 individuals, 229 passengers, and a dedicated crew of 12. In the immediate aftermath, a desperate search for life began amidst the smoldering ruins. Tragically, the search confirmed the worst fears for nearly everyone on the plane. Of the 242 souls who had begun their journey with hope and anticipation, a staggering 241 perished in the crash and the subsequent inferno. The passenger manifest revealed a cross-section of society with 169 Indians, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese nationals, and 1 Canadian citizen among the victims, highlighting the international scope of this profound loss. In what can only be described as a miracle, there was one sole survivor from the aircraft. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, an Indian-British national, was reportedly thrown clear from the fuselage as the plane broke apart. He was found amidst the debris, having escaped through a ruptured emergency exit. His survival, a single astonishing story of hope against impossible odds. His miraculous escape, however, stands in stark contrast to the immense loss of life. The tragedy was not confined to the aircraft alone. On the ground, the crash claimed the lives of at least 8 residents, including 5 promising medical students whose hostel was struck, with over 50 more people sustaining injuries. The identities of the victims painted a poignant picture of lives cut short. There were families heading for summer vacations, students traveling to the UK for higher education, and business travelers on routine trips. Each name on the passenger list represented a universe of connections, of parents, children, spouses, and friends whose worlds were irrevocably shattered. The news of the crash sent waves of shock and grief across India, the United Kingdom, and beyond. In the hours that followed, helplines were inundated with frantic calls from loved ones, their desperate search for information adding another layer of anguish to the unfolding tragedy. The emotional and psychological impact on the community of Magani Nagar and the first responders is immeasurable. These were ordinary citizens and dedicated professionals who were confronted with an extraordinary scene of horror. They witnessed the devastation firsthand, working tirelessly to rescue the injured and recover the victims under the most harrowing conditions. The story of AI171 is not just a statistic of casualties. It is a collection of deeply personal tragedies. It is the story of the medical students who lost their lives in their own hostel, of the families torn apart, and of a community left to grapple with the scars of a disaster that fell from the sky. In the immediate aftermath of the crash, the critical question on everyone's mind was a simple yet profound one. What went wrong? The investigation into the tragic end of Flight AI171 began almost immediately, with India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau taking the lead. Given the international nature of the flight and the aircraft's manufacturer, experts from the United States National Transportation Safety Board, the United Kingdom Air Accidents Investigation Branch, and the American aviation giant Boeing were quickly dispatched to Ahmedabad to assist their Indian counterparts. Their collective mission is to meticulously piece together the final moments of the flight and provide definitive answers to prevent such a catastrophe from ever happening again. Investigators swiftly located and recovered the two most crucial pieces of evidence: the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, commonly known as the black boxes. These devices are engineered to withstand extreme impact and fire, preserving a detailed record of the aircraft's performance and the conversations within the cockpit. The analysis of this data will be central to understanding the sequence of events. A mayday call was reportedly made just before radio contact was lost. A chilling detail that suggests the pilots were aware of a critical emergency. This recorded distress call, along with the flight data, will offer invaluable insights into the crew's struggle in those final fatal seconds. Several potential causes are being explored in the early stages of the investigation. One prominent theory centers on performance issues during takeoff, exacerbated by the extreme heat of the Indian summer. Investigators are considering whether the pilots might have retracted the wing flaps prematurely, a critical error that would rob the aircraft of necessary lift. Another line of inquiry is focusing on a potential loss of engine thrust or a major technical malfunction. Unverified reports also surfaced regarding possible system faults, including issues with air conditioning and cabin electronics, which may have been present hours before the flight, pointing to a potential cascade of technical failures. This incident marks the first fatal crash involving a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner since the model was introduced in 2011, a grim milestone for an aircraft that has been a workhorse of modern long-haul travel. While the 787 series has faced scrutiny in the past for issues like battery fires and structural concerns, it has maintained a strong safety record with no prior fatal accidents. The investigation's findings will be watched closely by airlines and regulators worldwide. The goal is not to assign blame hastily, but to conduct a thorough science-based inquiry that uncovers the truth, however painful it may be, to ensure the safety of the flying public. The response from the Indian government, Air India, and the international community was swift and compassionate. The Indian government immediately formed a high-level committee, chaired by the Home Secretary, tasked with conducting a comprehensive review of national aviation safety protocols. This is not just about understanding this single accident, but about overhauling the entire system to prevent future ones. Discussions are already underway to revise standard operating procedures for takeoffs, particularly in high-temperature conditions, which may have been a contributing factor. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other senior officials visited the crash site and the hospitals, offering solace to the victims and their families and assuring the nation of a thorough investigation. Air India's parent company, the Tata Group, stepped forward to address the immense human and material loss. The company pledged significant compensation of over $116,000 for each victim of the crash, a crucial financial support for families grappling with sudden and devastating loss. Furthermore, Tata Sons committed to providing aid for the reconstruction of the buildings damaged in Meghani, acknowledging the profound impact on the local community. A dedicated support hotline was activated to provide information and assistance to the victims' families, offering a single point of contact during a time of overwhelming confusion and grief. These measures, while unable to undo the tragedy, represent a critical commitment to responsibility and care. The global nature of the flight prompted an outpouring of international support and condolences. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and King Charles III expressed their deep sorrow, and the British Embassy in India began providing consular assistance to the families of the 53 British nationals who were on board. Community responses also highlighted the deep sense of shared humanity in the face of tragedy. A GoFundMe campaign initiated for one of the victims quickly raised over £422,000, demonstrating a powerful public desire to support those affected. This global solidarity provides a small measure of comfort, showing families that their loss is felt far beyond their own communities. Out of the ashes of this terrible tragedy must come a renewed and unwavering commitment to aviation safety. While Air India has resumed its operations, it is doing so under a cloud of intense scrutiny, with heightened safety audits and more rigorous ground checks now in place. For the aviation industry, the crash of AI171 is a stark and painful reminder that the pursuit of safety is a journey with no final destination. The lessons learned from this investigation must be translated into tangible changes in regulations, pilot training, and aircraft maintenance worldwide. The greatest tribute we can pay to the 249 lives lost is to ensure that their memory inspires a stronger, safer, and more resilient global aviation system for generations to come.